Hi, I'm Mitra Sorrells in the PhocusWire studio, and today I'm joined by Barbara Parshall. She is the CEO of Baarb, which has the product Baarb Pro. So why don't we start by telling us a little bit about what Baarb Pro is?
Thank you, Mitra, and it's great to be here. Baarb Pro is a technology platform, B2B technology platform that's using cutting-edge new technology to help the travel industry match travelers with hyper-relevant hotels and vacation rental properties that match their preferences and their intent.
Okay, so I know you just came off stage with your presentation, and you talked about how your technology would sit on the hotel website or on the OTA website. So explain to us again a little bit about this use of the natural language processing and how that powers what you're offering.
Sure. Well, we take an approach that uses natural language processing. It's an innovative technology, I think, that allows us to really understand the intent of the travelers based on what they've entered in a natural language search preferences bar, and then return a ranking of results to the OTA or the hotel brand, meta search, based on the query that's been entered.
I'm curious, do you think as technology has been developing, is that natural language piece, that ability to just type in exactly kind of what's going through my head versus being limited by choices that may be presented to me, is that where things are going, would you say?
Well, I think so. Since the beginning of online booking, everything has had to fit into boxes, the destination, the dates, and then you get thousands of results and you have to choose from maybe 10 or a dozen filters. And I think that's definitely got to change. Natural language search allows us to understand really what you're looking for and then deliver relevant results.
Now, Baarb started a couple of years ago, I believe.
Right.
You started as a B2C company and pivoted in the last year. Tell us a little bit about that.
We did. Well, we built the initial site. We got a lot of traction. We learned a lot and captured data. And then we got some great advice from a mentor who said that this is a great technology. We would be better off using it to help the entire industry get better by pivoting to a B2B company. And that's what we've done, and we've been thrilled to build partnerships now with some of the leading OTAs, meta search, hotel brands, vacation rental property companies around the world.
So now, as you are speaking then with some of those companies that you referenced there and in those sectors, what are you hearing back from them? And maybe what, if any, concerns or hesitation do they have, or what's holding back potential clients?
Well, in the future, we will have accumulated humongous amounts of data, and then we'll be able to have a true self-learning system like Google, for example. For now, really, I think they're impressed with our innovation around using AI to match travelers with relevant results, and we're not hearing a lot of concern or negative feedback. More questions around how much more data do we need, and what is the time frame for improving the results.
So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what do you see as kind of a roadmap there?
Well, as I said, today our innovation comes from our ability to use AI to match travelers to the appropriate places to stay. In the future, we will have amassed the largest data set of traveler preferences in the industry. That data, of course, helps travel companies deliver richer insights for marketing or for their own purposes, maybe sharing with partners. And it also helps them gather very valuable data about their most sophisticated customers that they can use to enhance personalization.
So you mentioned Google just a minute ago in your response, and I know that came up in one of the questions when you were on stage. It's certainly the question that's on a lot of people's minds related to a lot of different startups and companies in travel. So talk to me about Google and, the challenges there, or whether you don't see that as an issue. I mean, what does that mean for Baarb?
Well, we don't see that as a challenge, but I know many of the companies in the audience feel a threat from Google. They have a great search platform for travel, and every indication that they're going to continue putting a lot of money and resources into that. They already have natural language search, of course, and they already have the ability to deliver a set of ranked results. Now, it may be too many results and it may be overwhelming, but still 80% of us go to Google first when we're starting to begin our trip discovery. So our hope is that we can help to democratize that search and provide a similar capability for global brands so that they become the first point of entry for that trip discovery for their loyal customers.
Can you talk a little bit about what have you learned now in these last several months as you've made that pivot, you've been really building the system. Talk to me a little bit as you think back as to how it's evolved.
Well, we're a startup, so we learn a ton every single day. I think the biggest learning has been, and this is something that I touched on stage as well, when we built this, we thought it would be appropriate for a specific niche, the OTAs. But it's really been overwhelming to be approached by so many different types of companies within the travel ecosystem that find value in being able to deliver more relevant results in a search and to gain these rich insights about what their travelers care about most.
Now, in the last several months, I think it was back in May, we heard about Wayblazer shutting down, a company that was in a similar space using AI and that for relevant results. What does that tell you about the potential in the industry, or what are your thoughts there about the Wayblazer situation?
Wayblazer did have a similar approach in terms of natural language processing, and they had a very talented team that came out of Kayak and IBM. So there was every indication that they would be tremendously successful. And I know they were getting a lot of early traction with some pilots with big name brand companies. So I think it was a shock to all of us when that news broke in May. And that leaves us now in the forefront of providing this natural language search for the industry, which is a great position to be in. Unfortunately for them, a great position for us to be in, now. And we hope that the industry will continue to embrace and support our leadership in this role now as we continue the great work that Wayblazer started.
What about just the general learnings and experience of being a startup founder? Talk to me a little bit about that, and any lessons you might have for other entrepreneurs out there trying to break into the travel space.
Like I said, there are lessons learned every single day. Some of them are great lessons, some of them are lessons around what was I thinking, and I wish I had that to do over again, but you just keep going. And I think, and this is not new news, but I have learned that the key to success is just perseverance, is believing in what you're doing, getting others to believe in it, and not giving up. And that's been a great journey for me. I have to say I've loved every single day and been grateful every day for the opportunity, and hope that we have many more years to continue.
So before we wrap up, I'm curious if I see, this is your first Phocuswright Conference, I understand. So hope we will see you back here next year, of course. So if we talk again next year, what might we be talking about related to Baarb?
Well, we'll show you a lot more of the progress that we're having with some of the big companies who were here in the audience. In this particular event, I was limited in what I could say in some of the early discovery, mainly because of some NDAs that are in place, and because of so many companies being in one audience, I didn't want to say too much, but we're in very exciting early discussions with the leading brands from around the world. And I think by next year, we'll see some of that come into fruition, and we'll be able to see some real live examples of how the industry is transforming that early search booking from 20 years ago. And I hope that we'll be a big part of that breakthrough.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Barbara Parshall, for joining us in the PhocusWire studio. And thank you. We'll catch you with our next interview coming up.